And I've got the big three here with me tonight. The big three cool record store owners from the USA. Bobby from Vinyl Conflicts. Tony, regular guest on the show from Celebrate Summer. And Daniel from Sorry State. How you doing, guys?
Awesome, man. Happy holidays to you.
Thanks for coming in. I know you're all really busy at this time of the year, so thanks for taking time out to come on my silly little show here.
Always fun. Daniel murdering it with his background.
Yes, we've got a. I'm sure everyone's already noticed, but we've got a sort of. That's how it should be, right? That's how it should.
Now be. Now after staring at it for a bit of time, I think you're sitting in front of a green screen.
Aren't we all? None of us have this many records, right?
Yeah, I have like 5 records. There's just a green screen. Daniel, you're gonna have to prove it. Pull one of those records off the shelf and light it on fire. Just put it into the fire to show us that it's not a green screen.
Yeah. I was wondering if someone get mad at me for having records close to the fire.
Close to the fire.
Ooh.
It's okay.
Put it in the comments.
I'm in the comments right now. If you ordered from Sorry State this week, make sure you check that.
Yes.
The grooves are flat.
Smoky smell on the record.
Anyway, store stock.
Let's get started. We've got a lot to get through tonight. So, if you're a regular viewer, you know what we're doing. We've each picked out 5 records we've probably been listening to recently. So we'll go around and show one each and go around 5 times, or talk about them, ask some questions about them, have fun with the records. We'll have 20 records in all. And how should we do this? Okay, so last week Andy Lefton had an idea that we should always go clockwise, which means I'll start, Bobby, so me, Bobby, Tony, Daniel, and then we'll go back around again. All right. So I'm going to start off with a Japanese hardcore band that I've been into since maybe 1989, something like that, when I first heard them. In fact, I liked them so much that I put out a record by them. And yesterday I was in Disc Union in Osaka, and I saw their singles and kind of compilation tracks, double LP that FOAD from Italy put out, and I had to get it because I love this band. I'm talking about Juntess. Now, I don't know why. Like, the first time I heard this band, I absolutely loved them. I had to get in contact with the band. I put out their single, which was just like 6 tracks from their album. And these tracks are on this, actually, which I was wondering, like, how did that happen? Because I think I'm the only one that has the master tape, which is a DAT, which is in my mother's loft somewhere. So I'm not sure how these tracks ended up on here. Maybe one of the band members has something. I don't know. But if you've never heard this band, this is like metallic, really metallic hardcore punk in the Japanese style. A pretty unique band, I would say. There's nobody that really quite sounds like Juntess. And they have like these kind of dark sounding like song titles, like, Dancing with My Devil and Black Star. And that's a dark kind of vibe about them. They put out 1 album, bunch of singles, some demo tapes, and it's pretty cool that FOAD put it all together in this one package. And if anyone's a fan of Crow, when they kind of went metally, they kind of took up that
best Crow shit,
right? And the reason that happened is because of the guitarist of this band, Tomio ended up in Crow, and when he joined, they completely changed their sound. So that's where you get all that really heavy metallic riffing. It comes from the ex-Juntess guitarist. That's how that happens. So I don't know if people
remember. I haven't listened to Juntess in a while, but did they have such a Sabbathy thing? Is that
you know what? One of the songs I decided to put on the 7-inch that I put out has a real like Sabbathy intro.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were definitely into metal. And when I saw them in Tokyo in 1990, we're talking white leather jackets, leather trousers, brilliant stuff. But like they had a gig series called Devilish Fight. That's the time I saw them. They had like Lip Cream and Tetsuare and Sicilian Blood. So, they were in the scene, but they never got really big. And they had their own label, Power their own records. But I mean, this even has like two CDs with it too, which is like live gigs and demos, and so yeah.
That comes with the FAOD set.
It's the deluxe version. Now, I've been a bit cheeky about this label sometimes, but I won't go into that now. But I'm really glad to have all the Juntess stuff in one.
I haven't checked them out before. I think it sounds pretty awesome.
They're an amazing band. And sometimes they've got that little bit Death Sidey thing, but they're way more metal than Death Side. But I was just thinking last night. I was playing it last night, and it was like a time when a hardcore band could be like metallic, but it wasn't metalcore, and like it was just hardcore, but it was, I don't know, it's when there was no such thing as metalcore. I think when this band was going, just definitely very like Iron Maiden influenced and Sabbath influenced, but just plain hardcore. So Juntess, there you go, from 88 to 92 is the name of this record. They were only around for 4 years, but they just did a reunion gig for this record. They just did a reunion gig in Tokyo, and like Asbestos and some other bands played, I think. So there you go.
Oh yeah, cool.
That's my first pick of the day. There you go, Juntess, Japanese hardcore. All right. So Bobby, what have you got for us?
I was trying to pick which one I want to start with.
All right.
Not only is it hard to pick out 5 records, which one are you going to start with?
It's tough. It's a hard job, but some of us got to do it.
Sure. So I tried to pick things that came out this year that I've been listening to a lot, and I feel like it's fair to say that because I'm always trying to play records while I'm in the store. So I end up hearing some of these records. If I like them a lot, I'm hearing them probably too much, but not in a bad way. Just like because I'm showing them to so many different people, right. I'm hearing it every time I'm playing it for anybody. So one of my favorites that came out this year is the new L.O.T.I.O.N album. And they've changed their name now. It's L.O.T.I.O.N Multinational Corporation is their full name. And I don't know. I just really always love a lot of the stuff coming out on Toxic State, and these are like full on silkscreen cover. Nice. It's like so many different colors in it. Really involved. I always like the art, and they're kind of cheeky, and they're trying to be from the future. The lyrical content. It's like it's
yes. Some of the lyrics
I enjoy it humorously. Some people take it seriously and think that they're crazy or something, but I enjoy it exactly for what it is.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, there's cool. For people who haven't heard it, it's somewhere caught in the cyberpunk era. It's digital drum machine, at least on the album.
I feel like they go full Ministry on that record.
Oh,
yeah, just like at points for sure.
Wow.
Not only is it have that like kind of industrial thing, but how like Ministry's music, they just has that kind of like repetitive dancey element.
Driving.
Yeah, exactly. And like that combined with like the big anthemic choruses, like it's I don't know. I feel like not a lot of people do that.
It's a really funny one for me too, because the buzz coming around the album, I've seen them a number of times. Their shows are really great. They're a really good live band. I think the album's really cool. It seems like there was a ton of buzz, but it's not like they're not quite like a record band, if that makes any sense. Like it didn't fly off the shelf. But I love it, and I always play it for people, and I it catches a lot of people's attention, but they'll like save it on Spotify or something. I don't know. It's like it's really different from a lot of things going on. It's maybe not the most original thing to ever happen. Like it's definitely pulling from obvious influences that they love, but I don't know. I think they're executing it like perfectly, and it's just fun. It's fun to put on. It's like it's a mood changer. It can fucking shift everything going on in the room.
Didn't they do a split with Scumputer?
Yes.
That's
they did.
Where I know them from. I've never heard of, I've not listened to them, but man, you're selling it really well. I can tell why you guys have record stores because I'm convinced.
I mean, it's just like some fun area. I think of even there's chaotic moments that kind of have like an Atari Teenage Riot moment. Okay. But my favorite track on this new album, they almost left it off. There's a track called Cybernetic Super Soldier, but they made a remix of it that was just digital, and they actually ended up putting it as the last track on the album. So instead of Cybernetic Super Soldier, it's called Cybernetic Super Lover, and it's just like a pop song,
Yeah.
And I forget
It's
who they
cool.
have singing. It's one of their other friends. So they have like this like just really pretty singing over the song instead of like the driving voice that comes like that. Like a lady with a really nice voice kind of singing over it. And I actually have been taking it out and DJing at my disco night, just kind of sliding it in there. It like fits like that. It doesn't even stick out. Do
it's
what?
such a turn on the album. Like it's just like that song is just a completely different vibe than the whole rest of the record.
I
Like,
wish it was a disco single, like in a jacket. But I'm glad it's on there. But
yeah, me too.
You're not expecting it when it comes on. Like if you hear like 9 tracks or 10 tracks, and then that comes on, it's like a left turn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my first choice.
I think they just did a single. I didn't subscribe to it, but I think there's a Lotion single in the Sub Pop singles series.
There is
this year. Yeah. So maybe like some people outside of the Toxic State world, might be discovering them,
Yeah. One of my employees gave me that record because she subscribes to the Sub Pop singles thing, and she was like, "Do you want that record? Like, you could just have it." She did not like it. I was like, yeah, I'll take it.
I mean, for the Sub Pop series, they are not even kind of a Sub Pop band, which I think is awesome that they would put that in there, like really getting people outside their bubble. It's cool.
That came out this year, Bobby?
This album, yes.
Okay, all right. Going on the list.
And the album's called War in the Digital Realm. Sorry, I missed that part.
All right, thank you. Nice.
That artwork is outrageous. And Mike, that's Scumputer Band. That's like, isn't that Chaos UK guy, right?
That's Gabba's like solo project. Yeah.
Those records came and went through the store, but I didn't listen to the Scumputer side, so I'm not sure how. I don't know why I didn't get around to checking that out.
He puts a lot of like Japanese hardcore samples in his stuff too.
Right.
Scumputer. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. All right, Tony,
go.
Tony.
All right.
Tony.
Well, yeah. So last week I was listening to nothing but like year-end stuff. Like I had like a collection of all the things that had come to the store, so it was just over and over that type of stuff. And this week, I actually play a lot of like soul and punk Christmas music in the store, which like maybe drives people crazy, but it's like the one week that I can like get away with listening to that kind of crap.
We were talking about this before you came on the thing. We were talking about like Christmas music.
Yeah. So just a long list of stuff like, punk Christmas songs or soul ones, just ones that are a little out of the ordinary or whatever. But because I've been listening to so much of that stuff at the store, my pile of things that I was listening to at home are basically like comfortable favorites. So maybe me and you, Mike, talked about this one before.
Okay.
I've been pulling out the Intense Degree.
Oh, Jesus.
And here's another thing, not a favorite for other people. I would say a forgotten, and maybe people don't like this one too much in the earache world, but it's like probably like one of my top 3 earache releases. I think it just gets completely overlooked, completely forgotten. I'm not sure why people don't like it, but anyway, I love it.
People do like it. People do like it.
Hats not. You do like it, Mike? I can't remember.
I don't, but people do. People do like it though.
Yeah. It feels like it's just such just blazing fast hardcore record. It kind of looks like it might be a skate thrash record when you kind of look at them on the back. That it might be like a crossover kind of tankard, kind of like goofy kind of thing. But instead, it's more of a heresy ripcord.
It's just meat and potatoes hardcore. I think it would have done better if it wasn't on earache, personally.
That's right. If it had been on what is it, like Children of the Revolution or one of those,
In Your Face or Meantime, or I think it would have done better on a record label like that.
Yeah, maybe people just expect it to be death metal or grindcore.
Yeah, and it's not.
Not expecting it to just be like a straight up thing. But it's the difference between it and Heresy and Ripcord. It's recorded really, really well. Like the production on this,
that's true.
Like super, like I don't know. It's just way better than the production on a lot of those records. and it's just kind of unrelenting and it's catchy. It just like kind of never lets up. So I really like it. So.
I saw them many times back in the day. Yeah.
I know they have records after this one that actually, in my opinion, are not very good.
They put out a 7-inch on an American label, I think.
There's a 10-inch as well. They're both on the guy from Hell Nation. What's his label? Sound Pollution?
Sound Pollution. That's it. Yeah.
He did a 7-inch and he did a 10-inch. And they're not terrible, but they're like nothing like that first record. The only thing that's as good as that is there's a Peel Sessions LP. And that's like from the same time period. And it's pretty great. But the stuff that followed it is just kind of, it's okay. But that record really sticks out. So I've been playing it a lot. Burn the Christmas music out of my mind.
Robert Eberg, regular viewer, says that record rules.
Customer of Celebrated Summer, and I believe I don't know
how much did you pay him? How much did you pay him to say?
He's just over in the corner typing.
He's sitting on boxes of dead stock copies. Only available at Celebrated Summer.
Yeah, it's only dead stock stuff. I'm just trying to move as fast as possible.
But seriously, like if you do like that era of like UK hardcore and you've not checked that one out, I think you should, because you would like it for sure.
It really fell. I think that one really fell between the cracks, and it's never been. Earache never repressed it because I think there was a problem with them in the band, and it was bootlegged. There's a bootleg that has completely different artwork from that, and then that bootleg just kind of. The artwork is so bad on the bootleg that I think, yet again, no one cared. So,
Robert said he bought his copy from you, Tony. So there you go.
All right, I'm paying him off.
One down.
In my corner
to go.
All right, thanks, Tony. Okay, Daniel, what's your first pick of the day?
Yeah, I got to check out that Intense Degree record.
I think it might be up your alley.
Really fun.
So I'm going shameless self-promotion for my first one. This is the new record by ICD-10 that just came out on Sorry State. And really, like, I have been listening to this quite a lot lately. Like, I don't know, when I'm putting out a record, I kind of like, I listen to it like a few times, just like make sure that I like it enough to put it out, and then I kind of generally like put it away until it's about the release time, and then I sit with it again when I have to like write the like description blurb for it and stuff. So I did that recently for this and came back to it and was just like, it was even better than I remembered it. It's just like a sick record. They're from Philadelphia. Has members of Poison Ruin and Fucking Lovers, if you know either of those bands. And it's kind of like, it's very like grimy international hardcore sounding, but Boleyn, the singer, like manipulates their vocals with like all kinds of electronics. So it almost kind of has a little bit of like the Lotion kind of industrial repetitive element, not so much to the music, but like in that harshness of the production and stuff. And the lyrics are really good. Like I don't know, I think it's sick. It's brand new, so probably like not a lot of people have checked it out yet, but
Penny Royalty says it's a sick record.
Hell yeah. All right,
Put my wholesale order in for it.
My bots are working.
Don't make me send an email. Just some copies.
I ordered it.
I saw. Thank you.
Okay.
Very much. But yeah, people should listen to it. I don't know if I have anything else to say about it.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice. Is there a hardcore deluxe version like the ISS?
No, just your plain old color vinyl. Yeah, we're still not even done assembling the ISS records. Like, I don't know if y'all have heard about this, but we did this deluxe version where we like put like punk spikes on a mailer because the cover of the record is like a pair of Crocs with like spikes all over them. So, it's just this ridiculous package with like, real metal sharp ass spikes on it. They take for fucking ever to assemble. It's like,
wow,
4,000 studs we've done.
Are there still copies of that?
No, it sold out pretty quickly. So
I didn't order it because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to put that in the record shelf, and I'm a massive ISS fan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track.
Oh, nice.
I think they delight in ruining people's record shelves. Yeah, I think they're mischievous. It's like that flipper record that destroys your other records. Yeah.
Feeders?
Oh,
Feeders with the sandpaper on the cover.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. My next two choices are records that I literally bought yesterday on the way home, and I've only listened to them once each. But I had a good time with both of them last night. So my first one that I bought last night is an Australian band. They're on the record label called Anti-Fade Records. Don't know if anybody knows that label.
Yeah.
Band's called Smarts.
Yeah.
Came out 2 years ago. It was in the 300 yen bin. I don't know why. I bought it. They're like a kind of super group. There's members of the Alien Nose Job in this band, and the House Mutants, and the Living Eyes. It's really super fast, like new wavy, Devo-ish, but really like fuzzy guitars. Maybe even a little bit like a Radioactivity, that kind of sound, or maybe even like J Retard. But I literally only listened to this like once last night, but I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know anything about the band, but I kind of saw a few really good reviews of it. But something when I was looking this up, something caught my eye, and I'm going to enlist the help of you fine body of men here tonight. They were labeled as being egg punk. Now, I'm hoping you young people can explain to me and the viewers what egg punk is. Anybody want to give it a go? Because I have absolutely no idea.
Can I pull this chart up on my phone?
Yeah. It all comes from a meme. Have you seen the meme, Mike?
I kind of have vague memories of it, but I just egg punk. I have no idea.
Maybe.
What egg punk is.
The closer it is to Devo.
Oh, perfect.
The closer it is to Devo, the closer it is to egg punk. The closer it is to Charge, the closer it is to chain punk. That's like probably
Okay. Yeah, this is not Discharge. This is very much closer to
bands
Devo
like
than
Coneheads and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
The egg punk banner. I love them. And House Mutants, incredible band. So
I think I
check that
picked
out.
this up. I think who mentioned? Was it Jim who mentioned that band when he was
the one? Yeah. He was talking about House Mutants. I saw them in Baltimore, and they're just incredible. This awesome band.
So I'm thinking this is kind of a similar kind of thing. They have a saxophone player, but don't worry about that. Doesn't get in the way. Great record.
I got a chart.
You got a chart?
Yeah.
Chain punk chart.
Yeah. Hold on, I got it. I'm just having trouble saving it. Oh well. Hold on. Let's see.
That looks chain punk and egg punk. There we go.
Yeah.
So the medium is Gag versus Eel, and there's like evil egg punk is the Coneheads. Good egg punk is Lumpy Records.
Okay.
Evil chain punk is Kulo and Gigi Allen, but good chain punk is Haram, Gauze, Ajax. And then, so I misunderstood. Gag and Eel are the cross sections. So Gag and Eel are like the best of
50-50.
Anyway, this is a great record. I had a really good time with this last night. So Smarts.
It's in the United States. I think that's on Feel It Records.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Came out 2 years ago. Great record. Smarts. There you go. Thanks for explaining what egg punk is.
So I understand that the origin of egg punk is actually from the band Fried Egg, from what I was told.
Okay.
Really?
Chain punk, because at that era when this was happening, when a aggressive band would play, sometimes kids would bring chains into the pit, or they would wear them as belts.
Right. Okay.
Bobby, you're the youngest here, right? So you should be the most in touch with this, right?
Yes.
I knew there was a chart.
Well, he had the chart.
I'd seen the chart.
Give credit where credit's due. He did have the chart on his phone.
I didn't make the chart.
Okay, Bobby, what's your second choice? Egg or chain? What's it going to be?
Do you want egg or chain?
Neither.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go with we were talking about Moshi hardcore bands, and we're talking about Baltimore. So let's go. I'm gonna pick End It, Unpleasant Living,
Killer.
I just really love everything this band's doing. They're more on the aggressive end of stuff, but they're fairly political for a hardcore band. They're really representing like their city super hard, which I always am a sucker for when someone's like really repping where they're from. Because I don't know, I mean, not to take it too far, but I feel like the cool part about hardcore and punk in the beginning is like you had this really regional thing, and bands were from somewhere and they had sounds, and like I feel like for better or worse, I mean, I think there's a sound for Baltimore, and I think End It really nails it. Tony, I don't know how you agree or disagree with that, but
yeah, I love them, and again,
they sound very Baltimore.
It's super aggressive, and it comes from that tradition of Baltimore bands like Stout and Next Step Up. But there's just things that set it apart. They're faster, than those bands, even though there's lots of breakdowns and it's tough. But they're a little faster, and Akil's vocals are just super. They're just really unique. They're just awesome, and they add like a whole different layer to the proceedings. So it just really brings it up.
He's a really polarizing dude, and like he really brings attention to himself as a front person, even like outside of the band as his like social media presence. I think he's just a really like interesting and engaging person, which is really cool for a hardcore band as well. They're not just like like he's got shit to say. Their music videos are incredible. They did like a W.A.R ripoff music video that's like the TV show W.A.R. It's really good. Look that up.
Yeah, that Hate Keeper video is great. Pat Martin repping his no blow, no show shirt, basically. and as somebody that's been in a band with Pat and known him for 25 years or something, there's no lie there. So it's great. That's he's not fronting on the desire for the no snow, no show, right? That's what it says. There's no snow, no show. I think not no blow, no show, but that's what's implied there. So Pat's going hard all the time, like Akil. So it's like a band that, they're walking it. They're there's nothing fake about End It.
Wow. I think it's a legitimate record, and like I think I haven't seen a bad set yet. Nope. They just like bring their A game always. Yeah. So
nice.
That's pick 2.
All right. Thanks, boy.
They kill it. So yeah, it makes me proud. Baltimore over the course of its history, there's just not a ton of bands from Baltimore that break out of Baltimore, period. And then even the bands that do break out of Baltimore, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's cool, but it's not my style of music, or even of hardcore or whatever. Sometimes I'm like, that's cool that they broke out, but that's not exactly for me. But in the case of End It, it's like, yeah, they broke out, they're repping Baltimore, and I love the music. So it works out perfectly. So yeah, that's great. So I'm just going to continue my path of records that no one likes but me. There's another one that like nobody cares about. This is the New Christs. They're from Australia, and Divine. This one's Divine Rights, and I don't know what the deal is. I think it's just because everybody loves Radio Birdman so much, and everybody sweats Dennis Tech so much that seeing Rob Younger do a band minus Dennis Tech maybe is like, polarizing, or people just don't love it. But to me, it just sounds like Radio Birdman mixed with the Damned Black Album. It's like gothy and surfy, but it's still punk. It really doesn't sound very different to me than like my favorite Radio Birdman tracks. It's just missing, missing Dennis Tech, and the name Radio Birdman. So it seems like these records turn up in like $5 bins all the time. There's a bunch of singles and a couple of LPs. But I love them, but it does seem like, maybe they're not everybody's favorite Australian band.
I don't know if anybody's like picking up the excitement that I'm radiating right now.
I'm glad I was able to pull you back from the intense degree.
No, because we'll wait until my next pick, but that's a great pick.
Oh, okay.
Great pick. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I'll just say that. I'll leave it like that. I'm excited. That's a great pick. Yeah. I have a 10-inch by them, the New Christs.
Yeah. There's a couple 7 inches, a 10-inch. There's 2 LPs that are kind of the time, and they did I don't know if it was really a reunion because I don't know that they ever really broke up. But there's a record from like the maybe late 90s or something like that. They're all great. It's just, again, he's got a killer voice. It's just like, one part kind of punky, surfy, one part
right
damn coffee.
In the 10-inch section. It's there. No. Yeah, that's a great pick. Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I got to check that one out too. Super curious. Love Radio Birdman, and I've never checked out the New Christ.
Yeah, if you don't have a prejudice about Dennis Tech being in or not being in the band, and you like Radio Birdman, you'll probably also.
Wasn't that Dennis Tech like supposedly like a legendary asshole?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey, you might be watching tonight.
No, I remember in the documentary, like he comes off as really arrogant, and I think he might have a reputation as like a hard to get along with guy. So yeah, fuck him, New Christ.
Yo.
Throw my
into
that fireplace. New Christ.
Oh man, I wish I should go get my Radio Birdman records and just
throw them in there. Yeah, I'll mail you the.
There'll be another chance for you to continue with that topic in a little while.
All right, so here's my next pick. I had to pick something Japanese because I think we all have the Japanophile bug in common. And just for another shameless plug, Sorry State, we do this weekly newsletter that's sort of like it's this really intense thing. We try to make it as interesting as like a zine that you would pay money for, but you get it, for free. And we kind of tell you about all the new records that came out. And we do, everybody on the staff does a staff pick most every week. And this was mine a few weeks ago because did I say what it is? It's Chicken Bowls.
Chicken Bowls.
Yeah. I've been looking for this record for like 15 years. It's one of those things that's just like been very, very elusive. And I finally got it recently. I have a long history with this record that you could read all about in my very long-winded staff pick. But I've been listening to it a ton because it's so unique. It's like it's such a weird Japanese hardcore record, but I love it. And I was kind of hoping maybe Mike had some insight.
Just as you're talking, I'm kind of digging deep into my memory bank. I believe they were a Hiroshima band. And
yeah.
Isn't Zig Yaku, who went on to play in like Bastard and Judgment, isn't he the guitarist?
No, so he produces the record.
There you go. It's on his label, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Kagai Osu.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, and I think the guitarist is actually the
Rise from the Dead
for half years.
That's it. But it's Motsu, right? Who was also, he moved to Osaka and joined Rise from the Dead, which is the ex-Alto band.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
But I always wonder, like, this has just ripping guitar solos on it that are so good. I kind of have always wondered if Zig Yaku plays the solos because they sound
might.
like,
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Mukachin is the drummer who went on to be in Death Side.
Exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I had to dig deep for that. I had to dig deep.
I know you're killing me with that one. I've been looking for that record also. for like, well, you know, I think you got to remind me, but I believe in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, there's a bootleg LP with 4 7-inches on it.
Is that the Godzilla comp?
Yeah.
Godzilla comp. And I got that when I worked at Reptilian. And, you know, out of those singles, I don't even remember what the other 3 are. Not that they're bad, but the Chicken Bowels single made a real strong impression on my brain. And I mean, all the times that I've gone over to Japan, I've never seen a copy for sale. Not even like wildly priced out of my price. Just never a copy. Bobby, when you walked off of the screen there, I was like, if he comes back on the screen,
no, my computer was dying. My computer was dying.
I'm just gonna be like, bloop, and just my screen go black. I'm just like crawling.
I thought when Daniel said about like some shameless like self-promotion, I thought he was going to announce that he was like going to reissue it on like a triple LP. With like,
I would do it in a second.
The other 3 bands I had to look: Brain Death, Google Plex, which I bought from Daniel, and the Clay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Say Brain Death is the other single. When that's like, I love that Brain Death record, and there was a bootleg, that standalone black and white bootleg 7-inch of that Brain Death that I had for a number of years, and then eventually it's not even really, that one's not as hard.
No, Brain Death record shows up like all the time.
But
Chicken Bowels not at all.
But I love that Brain Death record. That also is like another kind of under the radar killer. But yeah, that one I have. But boy, that Chicken Bowels has been haunting me for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, it really does seem sort of disproportionately rare, you know, for something. I wonder if it was pressed in a smaller edition, or, you know, what the deal is with that, because
it's a very kind of interesting record, because it's not like, I don't know why it's like doesn't show up. No. Even here. There you go. Alex Moorhead has joined us to say that he loves the aesthetics of Daniel on the Fireplace. So there you go.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. Oh, geez, I guess it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
All right. So last night, I was on my way home, went into Disc Union, went through the cheap bins, bought a couple of records. The next one is one of them. And let's go back to our man, Dennis Tech, shall we? Okay, when I bought this record, I didn't even look at the back of it. I just bought it because it was 300 yen and it looked great. It looks like a kind of hardcore record.
Oh, yeah.
Deep Reduction. And you guys know this record?
No.
Nope.
I vaguely remember it from Reptilian times and being connected to
Radio. Honestly, like my expectations were kind of low, and I kind of got out of the bag and I said, Dennis Tech is the guitarist and vocalist on this record. So it's like a late 90s record that he did with members of the Stump Wizards, who I have no idea who the Stump Wizards are, but it's on Get Hip Records anyway. It really is tying in with what Tony was saying about the New Christ. I mean, this kind of sounds like a little bit like Radio Birdman. It kind of sounds like Iggy Pop, like Kill City, but with like slightly heavier guitars. There's even a little bit of like Hanoi Rocks kind of in there. There's some like slower, more like swamp blues songs on here. Pretty much every song is really, really good. It's a really, really strong record. I mean, I've been listening to it like twice. There's even like a little bit of like melodic kind of power pop seeping in there a little bit, but really good guitar playing. Like the members like share vocals. I mean, I'm really, really happy to have picked this up and found this. This is a great record.
I remember when it came out, and I don't remember listening to it because at the time I was working at Reptilian, and Chris, the owner, like that style, like Radio Birdman, but also swampy blues, like what's that band? The Scientists, when they kind of stopped being a punk band but started, got into the swampland, swampy blues world, and Chrome Cranks. That was like really stuff that he loved, and so things like that were like always coming into the store, but it's like killing. I can't remember what it sounded like, but I recognize the cover. So
I was kind of sitting back in not by my fireplace, but I was just sitting in my chair last night playing this and kind of feeling quite proud of myself, quite happy that I just blind bought this, and it's such a good record because I love Kill City. I know a lot of people don't like Kill City, but I'm a big fan of that record, and there's some kind of Kill City vibes on this record, and Radio Birdman, and so yeah. Deep Reduction. I think they have a second album too, maybe, but not sure.
When is that a reissue or
no? It's the original Get Hit recordings, 1999, out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
yeah, it was like 300 yen, but it looks like a kind of hardcore punk record. Yeah. I thought. I was expecting some like crust. So I was like,
it kind of looks like black uniforms. If you
something like that, yeah. But apparently these are like flood, the aftermath of a flood. The photos on, but I was reading that they had like a different cover plan, but the record label hated it. Apparently, I've not seen what the original artwork is, so they changed it to this. So I'm going to check out what the original artwork is when I have some time. Great record if you love New Christ, Radio Birdman, Iggy Pop, Kill City. Great record.
Bobby and Daniel, do you guys order from Get Hip? They're a distributor, not just a label. So, and they those records.
I do order.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. A lot of the stuff that Get Hip put out on their actual label actually is kind of all over because you know it was label and distro, and they didn't press small amounts of their things. So like you see the records around, which might account for it being in the 300. Well,
the funny thing is,
do you think maybe it's available still from the catalog?
It could be.
I mean, I've seen other things that Get Hip put out in the 90s still be listed, as available.
Any of you have good eyesight, but this is another record that was actually right next to that one in the same bin, and it's also on Get Hip, and it's the Heretics.
Did either of y'all remember, not to like, I don't know if you're supposed to talk about things like this publicly. Do you remember when Get Hip had that completely insane sales rep? Like, it was like around the time Sorry State opened.
Oh God, was his name?
Surely you know his name
with 2 E's.
It might maybe, but I just remember the sales rep from Get Hip just being like, when the phone would ring and it'd be that guy, I'd be like, oh man, this fucking guy. Like,
do you want to hear something funny? Do you know who that guy is? I'm relatively sure that we're talking about the same person.
Dennis Tech?
No. Yeah. Again, things that we may or may not should be talking about, not
me. You're saying it, not me.
That guy is the dude. By the way, he's super nice. He was somewhat of
for sure.
His sales technique was a little intense, but a really, really nice guy. He was the dude that owned and operated Giant Records that put out. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to take a quick peek. But I'm pretty sure he's the dude that did, the last Verbal Assault record, Diagnostic Field Day, the government.
Did I get his name right? Was that his name?
Give me a second and I'll tell you. Again, this is really, I don't know. Like, we're just like, here's his phone number. You want his social security?
No, that's fascinating because Giant is like the most mysterious label. Were they like
Giant was basically a major label, wasn't it?
But they were under Dutch India, right?
That's it.
Yeah, I think they were a distributor-owned label, not a major subsidiary.
Because they did like Government Issue,
Assault,
Diagnostic.
I think all those hardcore bands wanted to. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I'm really flying by the seat of my pants here. I can't find it, but I'm almost positive that I met him due to being a Get Hip sales rep, and then we just started talking after that, and then he stopped working there, and then it just came out somehow in conversation. I was like, oh yeah, Field Day is my favorite Diagnostic record. Like, fuck all those other records. I really only fuck with Field Day. See, the things that we shouldn't be saying out loud, right?
Yeah. Now you've really messed things up.
I'm not here for some Kermit the Frog fucking first Diagnostic record. I'm here for Field Day, basically. Anyway, so that led to the fact that I think he was just like, yeah, like I basically owned and operated that record label, Giant, for a while, and we talked. And he sent me, which I still have, although not handy, he sent me like a real Diagnostic DAG tag that like the band members had for the Field Day tour.
Wow.
And he sent me a Government Issue U record that was like melted and destroyed. It was basically like the Puck and instead of it turning into a record, it turned into like this thick pancake that has all these shards coming off of it, and then they still put the U label on it, and it's the color, it's the same purple that the colored vinyl U is, so you can see that it was, and there's just parts of it that have like grooves, and then parts of it where it's just obliterated out. And he was like, yeah, the plant this, and they stuck a label on it, so it's like a 1-of-1 mutant version of Government.
That's my favorite Government Issue album.
It's a great record.
Yeah. I had Tom on the show before, and I was almost in tears. It's kind of embarrassing because I love that record so much, and
it's such a great record.
It's great. Anyway, yeah,
we took a hard turn into people's personal lives, and we probably shouldn't have.
Sorry,
But,
I didn't mean to say.
It might not be the same guy, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
I'm almost.
I mean, this guy was just a character. I love characters. He was super nice. I didn't mean to blow him up or anything.
Yeah.
Did Fahad wish you happy Merry Christmas today?
Fahad?
Yeah.
all right. Okay, who's up next? I'm getting.
Mike's like,
Where are we? What am I doing? What day is it?
That's what you're supposed to do on these things, right?
Is it my turn?
Daniel.
No, it's Daniel's turn. Wait.
No,
it's
Mike.
Bobby.
No,
It's
it's my turn.
It's Bobby's turn. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just showed the Deep Reduction. Remember that record from 10 hours ago? Deep Reduction.
All right, I brought
right.
Oddball out, and I think rather than save it, I'm gonna get it next.
All
So, I picked a Richmond group. That's not punk at all.
Nice.
It's a group called Butcher Brown. They are a local funk, jazz, hip hop group, and they've been like playing, kind of like the Blue Note Club in New York, and they kind of tour around on that. They play as a background group for like this jazz musician Kurt Elling, who's Grammy nominated this year, but they just released a new album on Concord Jazz. So this is like one of their first major label releases. And it's just a really killer album. It sounds like if you didn't know any better and you weren't paying attention, you'd think the album was made on hip hop samples or something, or like, jazz samples is what I meant to say. But it's actually a full group playing the album. They have like members that like rap over the tracks, and they've just really kind of caught my attention catching them live in Richmond, and they're just kind of doing something a little different right now. They just released I guess it came out earlier. I think it came out in April, but the vinyl just came out last month. This album's called Triple Trey, and it comes with a bonus 7-inch. Yeah, it's a pretty cool record. I've been playing it in the store nonstop for like different customers, and like it attracts a lot of different folks, and so I've ended up just like listening to tons of it, but it's got me listening to more jazz in general and stuff, and
Nice.
Really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of contemporary jazz which has like hip hop influences and funk influences, and I thought Tony was going to bring back a copy of that.
You plugging in?
Plugging in.
Yeah, that's what I did when I disappeared. It was like, your computer's about to die.
I don't know if there. Yeah, my computer also was about to die, so
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be okay though now. So that, Bobby, that sounds awesome. That's like really up my alley, and I've heard the name, but I haven't actually heard it. So I'm gonna have to order some copies of that. That sounds real cool.
Yeah, I got them from AMS. I ordered a ton. I probably could, if you wanted to get a couple, just hit me up.
Yeah, sure. We want to out the personal information of the people that work at AMS also. I'm just kidding.
I like that you guys like sell all this kind of this stuff. I think makes the stores way more interesting than just only having like D-Beat 7 inches like wherever. Very cool.
I mean, I think all of us are like obsessed with those styles of music, but I think it would be impossible to run it off such a small wedge of music.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing, not to go way off topic, is like, I think my old shop was just so tiny that I didn't really have the room to sell everything that I wanted to. And then when I was able to get more space, I've kind of been able to carry more give a little bit more
we
face
kind
to
of
it.
talked about this before about like Japanese record stores, and all of you were kind of like, man, I don't know how they kind of survive in those tiny spaces and only selling punk. You know, it would be really hard to do that for you guys, but yeah. All right, Tony.
Those I just want to say real fast, those you know, the smaller, the kind of like Russian doll style of the Japanese stores where you're like, this is clearly the smallest record store that I've ever been in my life, and it's just like, hold my beer. Here's like a store that looks like into a corner of that store. I one time, I don't know the name of the store, but in Tokyo, I followed
Flower Record.
What is it?
It's probably, you're gonna say it's Flower Records. It's in Nakano.
Never. You know what? I've seen photos of Flower and never gone. Bobby, you went there, right?
Oh,
Did you go to Flower? Yeah, I've never been.
Daniel, have you been?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've never gone.
I went there literally 2 months or 3 months after it opened, like, and it was insane. Even then, like just like confused, like demo tapes like hanging off the ceiling and stuff.
They're all thumbtacked in, like you want to kind of look, but like you start looking and then they start raining on you and you're like, oh shit, and like
I got to know the guy a little bit.
and you're like,
I got to know the owner a little bit. He's actually a really nice guy. But like I went to the bathroom. Like you go to the bathroom, there's like swanky CDs like next to the toilet and stuff. It's just like insane.
But nothing is priced, right?
No.
Nothing's priced.
No,
nothing's priced. Yeah,
but I've got some really good bargains in there before.
There are tricks to Flower that I will not reveal on the internet.
I have some stories about that store which we'll talk about after I press stop on the.
Yeah, I just can't do it. When I see stores that look like that and nothing's priced, I just can't. My brain is just like, nope, like can't do it. I went to this one store. I was following like paper Scotch tape signs, and it was into an apartment building, just like a residential apartment building. And then at the end of the hallway, and it was just people's apartments. And then at the very end of the hallway, one of the apartment doors was open, and it just had a tiny, tiny little sign that said records. And it was just this woman's apartment, and she was just sitting at a desk, and there were all like Northern Soul 45s tacked to the wall. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Hey, what do you think? What do you think I'm doing?
Open the door.
Oh, I'm going to come to this.
Tony,
I'm coming to the store.
Right.
What's that?
I'm going to come to the Analog Attack store.
Yeah, I'd like to go to the Analog Attack store as well.
Well, we only open on Sunday mornings. Sorry.
I broke this one out because there's a
right.
really cool podcast that I listen to. That's like those guys that go through every SST release in order.
Huge fan.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. It's amazing.
Every episode.
And I like the ones that are records that I'm familiar with, but I also like it when it's just like the most complete, ridiculous, like what was SST thinking? Those are also pretty fascinating. But this is a pretty more a normal one. I listened to this one a week or two ago, and it's the one for Bl'ast, Take the Manic Ride, which I just love. I love this record. So any excuse to pull it out and just start listening to it was, listening to that podcast, I was like, oh yeah, this is, as soon as I get home, I'm going to break this out and just start jamming it. I love Bl'ast so much because they touch all these other scenes without fully being a part of them. It's like there's elements of Youth Crew in the earliest Bl'ast, and then there's like huge elements of skate culture, and then they kind of touch Fu Manchu also, or like that kind of sound, and then they kind of fully touch Black Flag too. So it's like Black Flag, Youth Crew, skateboard culture, Fu Manchu, desert rock, and it's just like one band that is insanely consistent, at least in their first, their first run of records, and all the graphic design is killer. The font is maybe one of my favorite band logos ever. It's just, I don't know. I feel like at least in their initial run, they can do no wrong, even into Lab and like some of the early bands where they split off into just nothing wrong and just like total power and energy. I love them. So yeah, that podcast made me break it out, and
that's their third album, right?
Third, yep. And the one that Southern Lord has on the podcast. It said that Southern Lord is going to do a version of this finally in 2023. What I was under the impression, I thought I read an interview where they said that the master tapes for this were like unfindable, but maybe they turned up.
Is that something that we want? A Dave Grohl remix?
Right. So the thing is, right?
Let me talk some shit.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, right? It's like SST owns the rights to these 3 records. The band gets no money, of course. Greg just puts them back into print at his whim, and the band gets nothing.
Yeah.
What's the deal, right? They say, oh, there was these different versions of the record that aren't the versions that SST owns the rights to. We found a different guitar track. You know what I mean? They're like, this version has a different guitar track, so it's not the same version of It's in My Blood. And then they get Southern Lord behind them. And then, by proxy, Dave Grohl kind of gets his hands in there a little bit. And then they just release the records with different covers and then like slightly altered artwork.
That's it, yeah. They changed the title a little bit too, right?
Yeah, so I guess I mean, if it was my band and somebody was holding the catalog over my head, it would also drive me crazy, and I would probably do whatever I could to have it in my hands again. But as maybe you guys are thinking, yeah, the artwork for those, new versions is like nothing like the originals. It's, I don't know. I own them all, but of course I'd rather listen to the originals. But I'd also rather the band have the ability to do what they want, So.
The thing that gets me about that, though, is that I think that Southern Lord misrepresent what that album is. And just to tie it back to some like message board lore, I remember, I think it was Chris Corey like pulling the waves and comparing them. And these are not different records. Yeah. And like, Southern Lord is saying that they have this mysterious extra guitar track. And like, that doesn't sit well with me, particularly.
Since, sorry.
Well, Southern Lord, they did this other thing that really bothered me. They sold all these copies of Battalion of Saints second coming. Said that they were original copies, and they actually just bootlegged the record and like literally lied about what they were and sold through an entire pressing of them.
Interesting.
Like,
that I didn't know about, but I remember reading Chris's thing about that on the board, and basically coming to the conclusion that like it was basically just a legal. My thought, right, is like perhaps it was just a legal loophole, right? Like they're just like, it's a different record. It's clearly not a different record. The band just wants control of it, and I get that. It's just like they're just like, oh yeah, it's a totally different version. It's not a different version, right? They just change the art, alter the name, say that it's a different version, and put it out, and that way SST can go fuck themselves, and the band has some kind of income or control over the situation. So it's like tough because it's like, right, is it being misrepresented? Potentially. Is it being misrepresented in the name of the band getting their work back? Yes. So then you can kind of like, balance it out. But I think I remember those records were out of print on SST at the time that Southern Lord did those, and then Greg immediately put them on back in print.
It's funny because I actually just saw a repress of Take the Manic Ride just yesterday in Disc Union.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I love it though, and I have just that band has like, there's something about them. They have like a vibe or something that is just like, it's kind of mysterious, right? Like it's a little mysterious and it's just cool. I don't know. All the lyrics are just, what are they even, the lyrics are just completely like, who even knows? I love it though. It's like, it all works perfectly. Those 3 records, like zero fault in any of them. Yeah. It's just perfect packages. I love them. So podcast made me break it out. So
nice. All right, Daniel, what's your next?
That always makes me think of Bl'ast. I always think of Henry Rollins' quote about Bl'ast and getting the van. When he's like, he played with this band and like every single song is just thirsty and miserable.
Yeah. It's a hilarious quote. It's a hilarious quote, the full quote where it says like the guitar player has the exact same guitar as Greg, you know, Every song sounds like this. It is like one of the funniest takedown quotes ever. But I do think it's a little, it's unfair. You know what I mean? But
It's wrong. Yeah.
it's incorrect, but it is hilarious, and
Yeah.
it is fair that he probably felt that way. You know, slogging away in Black Flag and then seeing Bl'ast play. You know, in the time, like I don't begrudge him thinking it, but it's not really a fair assessment of Bl'ast at all.
Good quip, though.
Yeah. Great quip.
Yeah. Well, so this is my next one. It's Laura Logic from, she was the original saxophonist for X-Ray Specs. It's her solo album, Pedigree Charm, on Rough Trade, right? Yes. And like, this is another one. I think I did it as a Sorry State staff pick a while back. It's just a great album. Like, so after X-Ray Specs, Laura Logic started the band Essential Logic, who are really good.
Oh.
And I think Essential Logic kind of dissolved, I guess. And then this record ended up coming out as a solo record. And the backing band is the Red Crayola, who were, you know, on Rough Trade at the time and, you know, had been around like the 13th floor elevators and shit like that. The band on this is great.
I gotta check this out.
It is insane. Yeah, it's really like, some of it kind of sounds like ESG or something like that. Like it has that kind of like mutant funk punk thing about it. But I love Laura's songwriting and her vocals. The other day, I was driving around and I always have album shuffle on when I'm in the car, and the Essential Logic double CD collection came on, and I just listened to the whole thing straight through, and I was just like, what a fucking band. Like I just love Essential Logic. I love Laura Logic.
How big is the Essential Logic catalog?
They have an album and a handful of singles, and they're actually I've never been able to find their album. It's called Beat Rhythm News, and there's a box set coming out in January that's like all the Essential Logic stuff basically, and including this record, the Essential Logic album, a collection of all the singles, like demos that were going to be their third album.
So is that like an original you're holding, or is that like a repress?
Yeah, this is not it's hard to find maybe, but you know, when you do find it, it'll be maybe $15 or something like that. Cool. It's not an expensive record.
Is there a lot of saxophone on it?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I was joking about the saxophone on that Smarts record, but I think if any band in punk, in the whole history of punk, who has a great saxophone player on it, it has to be the X-Ray Specs. So.
Yeah, exactly. And especially, you know, she's only the saxophonist on the early singles, and she's the one who she really like couldn't play. Like her notes are really sour and like.
But it fits so well.
Like Albert Eiler kind of thing about it.
Yeah, that's why it's so good, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and this is smoother than that. You know, I think I'm not sure how much saxophone she's playing on this. Like, you know, the horn arrangements are more polished and kind of technically and stuff, but it's a killer.
Wow, this is all new to me. Both Essential Logic and that are completely new to me. I love Essential
Logic. Yeah, they're great. Cool.
I can just hear my credit card crying. Okay, so we kind of talked a little bit about like how it's easy to kind of overthink these things. I mean, we only have to pick out 5 records, but like somehow it becomes this like huge like task throughout the week. So actually, this is one that I was going to show a couple of weeks ago, but I saved it because I thought Tony in particular might appreciate. If he doesn't, I do apologize, but I just thought that you might appreciate. I'm in Osaka. I'm not a pop star, but there's a band called Osaka Popstar. I don't know if any of you guys know about this band, Osaka Popstar. Look at that. Do you guys know this band?
I've had
Are
this
they-
record pass through in my
aware.
store, but I can't say I listened to it.
Well, it
never-
only came out on vinyl this year. It was only on CD before. This
Then
is
I
like
just lied.
See?
I guess I just lied.
Uh,
I know the name. No, I've never
well,
listened to him.
let me-
Never
let-
listened to it
I mean,
either.
you educated me on Eggpunk. Let me educate you about
Okay,
Osaka,
please.
Osaka Popstar. This is like the original lineup was Jerry Only from the Misfits, Des Cadena from Black Flag, Marky Ramone,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Ivan Julian from Richard Hell and the Voivods.
Dude,
And then the current lineup is Dennis from the Smithereens, Sal Mida, who was in like Milk and Cookies and Roxy Music, and Dean Rispler, who has been on this show. But I mean, this is like anime and pop punk like fused together, but it's done so well. You know, it's these old dudes playing like really catchy pop punk. There's some originals on here. Wicked World. This is interesting too. Like Daniel Johnston is involved in this record too, which seems like a complete juxtaposition.
I know the name, but never heard them. Did not know.
Really?
Yeah. Wild.
Well, the first, I think, I forget how many originals there are on this song, but the opening track is called Wicked. What's it called? Wicked World.
Is
And
this
it was-
on Misfits Records?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I
The
all
opening
right, I
track
know-
is
I
called
know-
Wicked World, and it was written by Daniel Johnston, which is kind of weird. That it's like pop punk anime band, and then but this is like
Wait.
booklet with it, and
So
it
is
has.
this a new record or an older record?
It came out in 2006, only on CD. This is the reissue on vinyl for the first time ever. Came out this year.
Do they have other records on vinyl?
No, they only have one album. But
I will
yeah,
say,
I've heard of them, but I don't.
I mean,
I'm
it's
not
like
gonna act like I know
super, really well produced, like pop punk. But you can tell it's done by older guys. And going back to the X-Ray Specs thing, there's an X-Ray Specs cover on here. They do the Astro Boy theme tune, and there's a whole 2 pages on Daniel Johnston.
I
crazy,
never knew that.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then what have we got? There we go. This is the I Live Off You, like the X-Ray Specs cover.
Yeah.
But you know, it's these really old guys, but playing this pop punk and these cover tunes and stuff. But it's a really, really enjoyable record. And the vocalist, this guy called John Cafiro.
Yes.
Like-
And I was just going to say, Mike, the reason that band is familiar to me, even though I've never actually heard it, is that guy, John, he's either all or half of the Misfits Records label.
Okay.
Him and Jerry, and they put out all the later Misfits records,
Okay.
the ones that were, without Glenn, and they organized all of those Misfits tours through the early 2000s that had Balzac on them. So the reason that I'm familiar with Osaka Popstar is because of because I really like Balzac,
Right.
and I could have probably pulled a Balzac record out of the piles as well and talked about it. Also overlooked and cool and probably a little more interesting than people give him credit for. Oh, wow. But that connection is there. John does Misfits Records.
Okay.
Put out all the U.S. pressings of those Balzac records on CD, and I think was the person that was responsible for putting them on those Jerry Misfits tours in the United States at that
He's
time.
a great singer, and it's a really great pop punk. I mean, we're talking old school pop punk singer. Really good singer.
He's also responsible for that Weird Al. No, I'm sorry, not Weird Al. Weird Al's on it. That Dr. Demento Does Punk record that came out for Record Store Day. It's like all, I don't know, Dr. Demento punk things. And Weird Al did a version of the Ramones, Beat on the Brat. And that guy, John, is responsible for all those.
This is a bonus. That Beat on the Brat is a bonus track on this vinyl reissue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
They do Blank Generation. Love Comes in Spurts. And yeah. It's just, I put it on last night after a few beers and was having a really good time with it. I can tell you. Old punk dudes mixing anime and pop punk. What could possibly go wrong? Happy Christmas.
Yeah, I'll get one more time. I guess this is my thing, talking shit.
Okay.
But the Jerry Jerry Only, Dez, Marky Ramone lineup of the Misfits at Jack's in Springfield, Virginia, is the single worst set of live music I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
Questionably.
But look at him with his like fire and his dog, and he's.
Dude, we would go to those shows. I went to all of those shows because I love Balzac. I love them.
I don't think Balzac played that one, but
They would make, dude, they would just like obliterate the fucking Jerry Misfits, like just destroy them every night.
Balzac?
Like, yeah, oh my God. Just,
I
just
think
obliterate
one of
them.
the first shows I went to when I moved to Japan was the Misfits and Balzac together.
Playing together. Yeah. I love them. I used to collect the toy, like, because they're like a brand, right? It's not just those records, but they have like
they have a store and all
clothing
stuff.
lines. They had the store I went to, Shocker, I guess, and all that stuff. I think those records are pretty underrated, and they're pretty cool for like being a Misfit Sam Hain, not like tribute, but kind of, right? Like kind of a tribute band. But they murdered it, and they made whoever was playing with Jerry look atrocious. Not that they, not that it needed any help, but they like really crushed at every show that they played in America. So we would go to them all, and then we'd watch a couple songs of the Misfits set or whatever, and just be like, okay, like getting home early tonight. What are you gonna do?
Jordan Atkins says he didn't think Daniel could look more Christmas storyteller, and then comes the dog on the lap.
Fireside chat.
All right. Okay. I guess I just went with Osaka Popstar. So, Bobby, it's your final pick of the day, I believe.
Final.
Is it?
I thought we're at 4.
We're 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Four.
But if we're taking too long, I can
This is
double
gonna
down.
maybe be a
This feels
2-hour,
like
2-hour epic.
part 1 and 2.
I'm gonna pick this one because I want to save the other one for last.
All right.
So we're gonna go with the new High Vis album. I believe they're from England. It just came out on Diaz Records. It's kind of indie, kind of shoegazy. Looks like it was produced by Jonah Falco. Didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess it came out maybe last year, but it got reissued. It's just kind of cool. Very relaxed, chill record. I put it on a lot as background music, which honestly is a sign that I love a record. And I play it a lot, probably every day. I don't know. I've been like last year, I really went down like a Stone Roses hole, listened to a lot of stuff like that, and I feel like this kind of comes in that realm. I'm not gonna say it sounds like that, but it's kind of got that kind of vibe to it.
What's the name of the band? High Vis.
High Vis.
High Vis.
I've been seeing their name a lot.
Yeah, I haven't heard it though.
Yeah,
me
this
neither.
is their second full length, I believe.
Okay.
And I think they just put up a pre-order for an even newer record, but I might be mistaken on that. Yeah, I think it's a killer record. They seem to play with like hardcore punk bands, but they're kind of outside of that scene, but they do mesh in there. I'm trying to remember how I heard it. I think it came up as a Spotify like suggested at some point. When I was listening to, I can't think of what the band it was where I heard about them. But yeah, anyways, this record ended up being a big one for me.
I've been trying to get Jonah Falco on this show for 3 years.
Oh, come on, Jonah.
And he has agreed to it because we're busy man producing
He's
records
like
High
in
Vis.
19 bands and producing things and recording and
Yeah.
Bobby, what label was that High Vis on?
Dias.
Oh, Dias. Okay. So
Dias, yeah. And am I mistaken? Is Dias that's Gibby from Panic? Is that his band label?
Well, I don't know.
I think it is.
Isn't Dias the label that puts out like Choir Boy and like other kind of gothy
Like Rick
type things,
and-
right? And it's through Secretly distribution.
Secretly. I get that through Secretly.
Somebody out there is trying to like open up a record store, and they're just like, "This is the episode I was trying to." all the behind the scenes distribution. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, for sure.
Not just entertainment, Tony. It's educational.
We really need to do one of these. Just have it be like record store shit talk. Like,
Wait,
not
so
even-
how did you guys get the Gauze records from Japan? I'm just playing.
No.
Dude, we need to have like a straight up, like, don't even pretend to talk about music, just straight up drag motherfuckers through the mud.
I think
Record
we've
store,
already
like,
had a few.
show. just like
Let's go.
straight down, start going hard.
Let
We
me tell
probably
you
need-
why I don't order from.
We probably need our own flat out record store podcast. We'll have it moderated by Mike, and we will
Jesus.
just unleash the fucking hate on everyone.
We tried to make that Facebook group, but I
Yeah,
I did a Facebook group a while ago, but nobody.
the Star
nobody
Chamber. You made
Yeah,
it.
Star
It's
Chamber.
yours.
Yeah. Oh,
Robert
well.
says that Dice have been doing the Coil reissues.
Oh,
Yeah.
recently.
awesome.
All right, Tony, what's your
Right.
volume 4? Fourth pick?
My volume 4 is the Betty Davis Columbia years. Light in the Attic did this as part of their reissue campaign for Betty Davis a couple of years ago. It might have been as long ago as 4 or 5 years
It was a
ago.
little bit more than that, yeah.
Okay, so even longer, right?
Yeah.
They did this as part of it, and it was the one Betty Davis thing that was previously, I guess, completely unreleased. They did the normal studio albums, and then this was like I guess Miles Davis had put her in the studio with Herbie Hancock and a few other people, and this was going to be basically her demo to get signed by a major label or whatever. And apparently, I can't remember if it's in the documentary or not, but she was the person. She had it was like almost like people didn't believe that this existed. It just was not out in the world at all. But she had the tapes, and then trusted Light in the Attic well enough to like let them finally do a version of it. So it's killer, obviously just like queen of funk, just destroying everything that she touches. Awesome, just killing it.
I remember like not the day that I remember, just when the year or whatever I found out about Betty Davis, I just could not believe that I'd never heard this music ever before, and I just spent not all my time, but a lot of time tracking down the records, and I have all of them. I don't know why I sold that one. That was stupid, wasn't it? I got rid of it in a moment of madness.
The interesting thing, I have some of the originals. All of them look like cars drove over them. There's not like they're the most partied on records of all time.
Yeah.
You can see like if you like look at them in the light, there's like razor cut lines where somebody was doing blow off of the record, like these tiny, like tight little like razor marks. I mean, they're the Funkadelic records that come to the store look like clean platters.
When I say originals, I'm talking about like old Japanese pressings.
Okay, so they probably look beautiful.
Yes,
well, every single copy, I have like 4 of the same one, and it's like a horror show. It's like each one is somehow more destroyed than the one before it. Like, never seen a clean copy of any of them. But they play fine. You just crank them up and they crackle and they sound cool. But when Light in the Attic did those reissues, I didn't keep any of them. I just had my originals of the studio albums, and I didn't think to keep this, and my wife just got it for me for Christmas. So
nice.
it's like at the top of the pile, and I was listening to it earlier today when I got off of work, and I was just like,
I mean,
awesome.
I'm not an expert in funk, but surely her records are some of the best funk records like ever made.
What a like undisputed attitude, and her. This comes with a book where there's like they interview people about her, where they just chat about her, and a lot of the people are just like, she kind of came into my life, told me what to wear, told me what kind of music to listen to, told me what was cool, and then dumped me and like exited my life. Basically, she was just like a tornado that just like blew into people's lives, cooled them up because she was the absolute coolest and knew everything that was cool, and then ditched them and moved on, to the next thing. So it's just like more like legacy, kind of like mythical
lore.
Yeah, it's just like mythical lore. It's so fucking cool. So this one I just didn't keep one. And Light in the Attic, there's pre-orders up for you two guys if you want to. They're doing pre-orders for the regular studio ones again. They're going to come back into print. But this one, for some reason, is not. There's no pre.
Really? That's the only one I don't.
Yeah. I don't know why this one is like not part of that new reissue campaign, or maybe it will be, and it's just lagging for some reason.
Right.
I'm not really sure, but I have to thank the wife. She was able to pull one out because I did not have one at the store, and this one's actually been out of print for however many years, from that initial pressing that they did. So
I don't know why I sold my copy. That was a stupid day. Anyway. Some of the best funk ever.
Seriously, yeah, just outrageous.
Yeah. All right, Daniel.
All right.
What you got, man?
What do I have next? Oh yeah. Osaka, or Osaka. I'm not sure. I'm not great with Finnish. Yeah, this just came out a couple months ago, I guess, and it's basically like their unreleased second EP. It's been reissued before. I think it was circulated as a tape originally, but man, it just is one of those things where like the record came out and it was just like what I wanted to hear at that moment. This stuff is just killer. It's just 5 songs, and like a lot of my favorite like Finnish hardcore is the kind of the stuff that's on the more like anthemic end of the spectrum of that. Like I feel like a lot of Finnish bands are really good at sort of balancing that like hardcore intensity with really good songwriting, like Llama, Appendix.
Yes, yeah. That's.
And this is, if that's what you like this is killer. Yeah, I like it, way more than their 7-inch, which is really good too.
Whoa, I really like that 7-inch. Who released this?
That Finnish hardcore label.
Finnish label, yeah. Are you doing distribution for them still?
Yeah. So I think they were more distributor talk. I think they were exclusively distributed by Puke and Vomit.
Okay.
I was just gonna say Puke and Vomit. I saw it. I haven't done an order with them in a while, but I saw it on the Puke and Vomit list. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Puke and Vomit.
exactly. So I think this one you had to get through Puke and Vomit.
Okay.
I believe that relationship has perhaps been dissolved. So, you should be able to order their stuff directly from them in the future. But yeah, if you like 80s Finnish hardcore, like
I love that 7-inch, so I want to hear. I haven't heard this.
I've not heard.
The sound is incredible.
I agree with you that kind of anthemic, melodic stuff is my favorite style too. The Finnish hardcore.
Yeah. If you see this around, like I really highly recommend it. Yeah,
cool.
5 total rippers. I love a 12-inch EP too. Yeah, good format.
Nice.
Mike, before you start, can I throw something out there real fast? I just had another great idea. After record store shit talk moderated by you, I feel like a game.
Why can I take responsibility?
Me, Daniel, and Bobby just let it out and fucking talk shit on everybody. But I feel like a game show, right?
Yes.
Game show where you just hold up Finnish, Russian, Swedish fucking records, and we have to attempt to the best of our ability to pronounce it correctly.
I got another idea for a game show.
Already happening, but like it's not official.
And everybody loses.
For game show. Who's that distributed by?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm literally like at the store, like, man, you should check out this record by Acetate.
We'll look at that too, dude.
That'll be a hit, I'm sure.
I'd watch it.
Wow, you're
gonna be honest.
You'll be on it.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna be on it. It's the 3 of us fighting against each other to try to pronounce it correctly.
All right, last round, fellas. Last round. So my last pick is something called the heavy glam girl band Acetate. This thing right here. No? Oh, nice. Okay, so this is
No, I don't.
This was released as is because it was like an unknown, untitled, uncredited Acetate from 1974 in England, and Sealy Court label, who put out a lot of like private press, heavy psych records. They reissue a lot of them. This is one of their releases. It came out this year. So when they put this out, they had no idea who the band was. And that's why it's called the Heavy Glam Girl Band Acetate is the name of the record. But the thing is that pretty quickly after they put it out, it was discovered who the band was. So you think, okay, mystery solved. So the band was apparently called Gumbo. It gets weird here because if you look at Gumbo on Discogs, they have 145, which came out in France on the Fontana label. A song called The Devils and We Don't Care, which is the last song on this record. But you click on it and the band picture is 4 guys. Right? So the mystery really hasn't quite been solved yet. And the label, they kind of, it's their responsibility to kind of, talk this record up. They kind of mention Girls' School. Doesn't sound like Girls' School. I mean, this is 1974. But it does sound like the Runaways or Susie Quattro or the Sweet or that kind of thing. And it's a one-sided 12-inch with 4 songs, and it gets better as we go through the record. It starts off kind of okay, but like the last 2 songs especially are really, really like top-notch, heavy, like stomping glam rock of that era of like 1970s. But I still like don't understand like what this band is or who they were. Was it like a studio project? Don't know. It's not been solved yet. So yeah, it's a cool record.
When did this get released?
This year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Sealy Court. Yeah, and it's funny, and this is actually quite kind of true. I don't know if you guys know Shampoo, that UK band that was like a pop band that had like punk musicians. Shampoo, they were like from the 90s. It's like 2 young women, but they had like guys from the Lurkers playing the music. They were huge in England. It was like commercial, like kind of like almost like what Avril Lavigne was doing decades later, but like years ago in the 90s. But that's a great record actually if you like really like commercial pop punk. But the last song, We Don't Care, really does sound like what Shampoo would do, like years and years and years and years later. Like super catchy, super energetic, like pop punk, glam rock, or whatever. So
Cool.
yeah, I've been playing this one a lot. Really, really enjoyable stuff. So Gumbo or the Heavy Glam Girl Band Acetate. So yeah, the mystery hasn't been solved. And like I read somewhere that like the picture on the 45 that says Gumbo is actually like the Lollipop Shop, which wasn't that like Fred Cole's band? Like, so this is like a real mystery thing we've got going on here. So there you go.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
want to hear that though. That sounds
you guys
awesome.
didn't get this through your distributors.
I've never heard of it.
Who's that distributed by?
Even if I passed it up, I would have remembered.
Who released it?
Like that.
It doesn't say.
It's probably forced.
But the label Sealy Court, they're a pretty established label. They do tons of like psych reissues and stuff. So British label. There you go.
Okay.
That's my last pick of the day.
Cool. That's awesome. That's a great last pick.
Yeah, I saved it for last time.
Last pick, I went with the Rigorous Institution album. This is like the limited edition Blackwater.
Oh, that looks different to mine. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Blackwater does like a limited cover for all of their releases. So I grabbed one of those because I really liked this title. I don't usually grab those unless I'm like pretty excited. They usually cost a little bit more. They're like cool silkscreen covers. They played here with Poison Ruin, and it was that was an interesting show because both of those bands I liked the records pretty well, but they both played here, and both of those bands were really, really awesome live. They kind of had like this theatrical show to it that didn't translate to me on the record. Kind of, I thought the record was kind of just like weird and peace punky and mystical kind of sounding.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really know.
We talked about this record, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago.
But getting to see them live,
I love it.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands.
They looked unworldly while they were playing to me. Like they just kind of the singer like wears an outfit and everything, but it was cool, like not in a cheesy way at all.
I've gotten like
very
mixed reports about the live show, so I've never seen it. I'm probably never ever going to see them. So
I can see people not liking that, but I mean, for me, I loved it. I thought they were really killer. Kind of stole the show for me. I mean, I thought Poison Rune was great too. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of peace punky. It's kind of dark. It doesn't sound like every single record that came out this year. Poison Rune probably could have been my 6th record that I could have brought, but yeah, Rigorous Institution, they're from Portland. It's awesome.
It's a great record. I mean, there's bits of like Dark Throne in there, and then like with the kind of cheap synthesizers really kind of add some atmosphere to it. Great record. Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that show. But yeah, that record is incredible. I'm gonna go the full agreement there on that one, and Poison Ruin as well, also awesome. So I would like to have seen that.
I assume they'll be back. I think.
Yeah, nice. Poison Ruin's playing Baltimore at some point, not long from now, sometime in the next month or so. So I'll try to make that for sure. But I don't think it's with Rigorous Institution. So hopefully I'll catch.
This over the summer. So
over the summer,
yeah. Poison Ruin's from Philly.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Tony, what's your last
pick? All right, another I love but forgotten, maybe 100 yen dollar bin jammer. This band's and I'm curious if maybe it might be sitting in a dollar bin in either of your stores, but this band
it has before.
Has it been sitting in there before? Yeah, I love this record, and I think that. I'm not really sure. They did a 7-inch, and there's this record, and then they just disappeared. I don't know. I don't think they exist any longer. They were some kind of a project. It's 1 or 2 people that were in Moto at some point. And then the woman was in Gito Hustler, who I've actually never heard or listened to. But it's a mix of like, I really like bands that have 2 styles, and then they just kind of alternate on a record. I do not like it when a band has 3 styles. Start 3 styles, start a new band. 2 styles, alternating on a record, perfect. You want to do a 3rd style? New band. But I love it when the alternating happens. So yeah, half of the songs kind of sound like the Marked Men, just like really lo-fi, super catchy, garagey, early Marked Men, kind of like pre-Fix My Brain maybe, Marked Men style. And then the alternating songs have Yago from Gito Hustler singing, and those sound like a really super sugary power pop. I guess they kind of sound like the Tweezers or Firestarter, but like with a woman singing and very, very super catchy power poppy. And then it just kind of alternates back to more Marked Men style. So I don't even remember what year this came out. Tic Tac totally put it out, and I don't even think that's a label anymore. So I'm fascinated by records that like they happen and it's like really cool, and I think about them for a while. I'm like, man, I'd like to see this band, and people are buying this record, and then just like the sands of time just like wash over them, and no one even remembers that they. Not only do people just not even remember that it was a band, like everything about it just disappears, which is why like last time we did this, I pull out like a random Rip-Off Records record where I'm like, oh, I remember when this came out and it was so cool and I love it. And it's like, does anybody even think about Rip-Off Records at all, period, any longer, ever? And so I love that stuff. And I love you do. Okay, awesome.
It's funny, Tony, as you're talking, I've got to announce something about like this place in Kyoto, a live house and play pizza joint where all the kind of the power pop bands and the garage punk bands played, and I realized that we actually went there together.
Went there, right?
We went there together.
We saw the Exploding Hearts band, Louis and what was it called? I really love that record. Terry and Louis.
We went together, and I don't know if you remember that. My friend Michael was there, and he used to be in Motto, and he was.
Okay. Well, you know what is I mean, was he the guy that was in the test patterns? It's
No,
possible.
no. But he was a member of Motto. But we met him on that evening because he lives in Kyoto now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, if anyone's coming to Japan and you're in Kyoto, check out Pop Pizza. If you like pizza, if you like power pop and garage punk, Pop Pizza is the place to go.
Love Kyoto.
Never thought I would see any of those Exploding Heart songs played live, and seeing them in a tiny pizza joint.
That was a great evening.
Yeah, freaking out and singing along and stuff. Yeah. That was really fun. So
yeah, there you go. Cool. All right, Daniel, it falls upon your shoulders to wrap up this show.
Yeah, it's just something I've been listening to. It's this like recent bootleg that came out of a Black Flag gig in July 1982. It's the short-lived 5-piece lineup with Dez on guitar and Chuck Biscuits on drums, and it just, this shit rips. Like it's just like such a killer era for the band. There's those 1982 demos that have been like bootlegged a whole lot, and those are great.
That says like 83 demos on the front, but it's actually the 82 demos, right? Is that it?
Yeah. I think it's been bootlegged several times. Okay. Yeah, and that stuff's cool, but like this is like those that set basically. They played those songs and then a bunch of older Black Flag songs, and they're ripping it. You can tell the crowd is super hostile, and like Henry is like, I mean, the between song, little talks that he does are hilarious and great. It's just like this is like what bootlegs are all about. It's like sort of key era of the band that really just like wasn't documented well. So I keep listening to this. It's just so fucking good. Yeah.
Who is that distributed by?
Analog Attack.
Incriminating people.
Look, I know it might be running long, but I gotta either
go on.
Or I gotta talk to Bobby and Daniel about this real fast. So Daniel, when you were just mentioning, that's a great bootleg, of course. When you were just mentioning those 83, 82, 83 demos getting bootlegged multiple times, right? Like even in the 90s, there were versions and bootlegs of those. But I'm really curious, did either of you order the new version of those bootlegs? It was available through distributors, right? So I order it, okay? I'm like, oh yeah, these 82, 83 demos or whatever. It's always good to have a couple of copies of this floating through the store. There's no image of it as I, click like, okay, I'm going to order these. They show up, and it's either a real Pettibone drawing on the front or not.
Oh,
it's
that one.
hard to tell, right? And there is a motherfucking swastika, huge, on the front.
It's like a woman's chest, and there's like two in her chest.
Yeah, it's like two fucking swastikas on the front of this record, and it even like the text tagline is like something about promoting anti-Semitism, and it's just like, I just burned my money. I can't fucking sell this in my store. I don't want to sell it in my store. You know what I mean? I'm like, but even if I did want to, I can't. And it's just like, oh, you couldn't put that artwork up there so I could see to not order the record that has like two giant swastikas on the fucking front of it. I was like, what do I even do with these? God damn it.
I would think.
I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's one of those things, because in like the world of bootlegs, you're kind of like there's no return. It's kind of like lawless. It's pirate world. You were fucking like, we're gonna Vasti Black Flag album. You can't have it. So here's how you're gonna get it. And like, oh, you wanted to order this thing? Oh, you wanted to order this bootleg? Well, here's the fucking cover, motherfucker. Like, or do you think some guy was like, oh, I found some Pettibone art that hasn't been used before. I wonder if people like this one. Like, no, man, I'm not putting a swastika on my fucking shelf. I don't know. I think we found like Black Flag locals who were like super pumped on it. Like, obviously, we know, all of us, the content is not that.
Yeah, of course.
We know that like Pettibone's artwork is like, controversial.
Yep.
Like,
But you can't have like regular ass humans coming through a record store
No.
and seeing that on the shelf. It's just not.
No, not a good look. Open a shop in Japan. You'll be all right.
I've seen some shit. It cannot be unseen for sure.
Okay. On that
I'm not gonna get
bombshell,
into that one. Yeah.
on that bombshell, let's finish up this week's episode of Who Are You Distributed By? No, seriously,
My
thanks.
favorite. Next week's episode's called "My Favorite Bootlegger."
Yeah. No, it's been great as always. Amazing picks, amazing banter. Thanks for tuning in. Next week we've got Brian from Drop Dead, Nate Wilson, and Patrick Wilding. We're going to be doing our favorite 5 releases of the year. That's going to be a tough episode, but it's going to be a good one, I'm sure. So make sure you tune in. So thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you for having us. It's good to see you.
Until next time, stay healthy and stay clean.